Hey everybody, welcome to episode 4 of Scales Deconstructed. Last episode we did the Dorian mode, and this week we are going to do another scale that can be used over minor chords, and it gives us a little bit more of an outside sound, and that is the melodic minor. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so I'm going to be in the key of G, and intervallically what a melodic minor scale is 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the only thing that's flatted is the third. So some people prefer to think of this as a major scale and you flat the third. For whatever reason, I've always preferred to think of it as a Dorian mode with a major 7 as opposed to a flatted 7th. And the reason why I like that is because if you already have a lot of Dorian stuff worked out and you can kind of maneuver around that scale pretty well, all you have to do is take all of your Dorian ideas and just change the flatted 7th to a major 7, and you get this whole new set of sounds that are, really colorful and really exotic sounding. It's kind of the first scale that I learned where I was like, oh, that's a lot of that really cool kind of jazz vocab that I've always heard, but I was never really able to translate it to my instrument. So we have some interesting intervals and arpeggios going on in here. We have 2 sets of tritones as well as an augmented fifth. So because of that, it changes the arpeggios and the intervals significantly from the major modes. So this is a very interesting scale, very cool sounds. And we're going to start out by doing our intervals, going from thirds up to sevenths. And if you would like PDFs of everything that I'm going to go over with an additional 2 exercises per interval and arpeggio, you can become a patron at patreon.com/MikeGaudetteMusic. So we are going to start going up in thirds, just ascending thirds. So I'm just going to take each note of the G melodic minor scale and I'm going to play a third above each note. So we get this. Okay, now descending. Okay, now I'm going to change the pattern. I'm going to go down the first one and then up the second one. So instead of going like this, I'm going to go down the first one and then the second one I'm going to reverse the order. So instead of, I start on the 5th string. So now I get this. Descending. Okay, now I'm going to do fourths. So with the ascending fourths, we get this. Descending. And like I said, we have 2 tritones now. We have a tritone between the B flat and the E, which is our flatted third and our 6th, as well as the C to F sharp, which is our 4 and major 7th. So that significantly changes the intervals and the arpeggios that we're going to encounter. Okay, now I'm going to go down the first one and up the second one, which will give me this. Backwards. Okay, now if we go up in fifths, we get this. Descending. So like I said, there's an augmented fifth in there, right, from the B flat to the F sharp, which is interesting. We don't encounter that at all in any of the major modes, so that's one thing that's distinctly unique to the melodic minor sound, is that augmented fifth. Now if we go down the first one and up the second one, we get this. Descending. Okay, now we're going to do sixths, and ascending we get this. Descending. Now if we go down the first one and up the second one, we get this. Descending. Okay, for the last set of intervals, we're going to do sevenths. So going up in sevenths, we get this. Descending. Now if we go down the first one and up the second one, we get this. Descending. Okay, now for part 2, we are going to do arpeggios, and what we're doing is building a 3-note arpeggio off of each note of the scale. And this is really good not only for technique, but also for theory, because now you're getting a better understanding of the Roman numerals off of each note of the scale and what chord quality is happening off of each specific note. And it's particularly interesting in the melodic minor because we get an augmented arpeggio, which is something that we don't encounter at all in the major mode. So it's a sound that's kind of distinctly unique to the melodic minor. So if we start on the 1 chord, we have G minor. The 2 chord is A minor. The 3 chord is B flat augmented. So there's that augmented arpeggio. Really cool sound. And that's that augmented fifth that I was talking about, the B flat to F sharp. The 4 chord is C major. The 5 chord is D major. The 6 chord is E diminished. And then the 7 chord is F sharp diminished. So we have a diminished on the 6 and the 7, which is cool. And then back to G minor. So if we go down each arpeggio, we have backwards. Now if we go down the first one and up the second one, we get now backwards. Okay, and on the Patreon, there's 2 additional patterns for the triads, as well as 4 other patterns using 7th arpeggios, and it gets really unique when you get into the 7th arpeggios. So if you're interested in that, feel free to check out the Patreon. And yeah, let's move on to part 3. Okay, now for part 3, we're going to do dyads, which are 2-note groupings played at the same time. So we're going to take all of the intervals that we did in part 1, and rather than playing them one at a time, we're going to play them together as 2-note groupings. And this is really cool because you're going to find all of these really interesting interval combinations, and just stuff that lines up within the scale that you might not have been aware of that can also help you build some interesting chord voicings within the scale as well. So this just all around just helps out everything. So I'm going to start out with seconds. So we start with G to A, right? And then I'm going to work it through the scale. Okay, now thirds. Okay, now fourths. Fifths. Sixths. And the last one, sevenths. Okay, so we have intervals, arpeggios, and dyads, and I think that all 3 of those are really good tools to explore to really help you understand the ins and outs of all of these scales. So that is our episode for this week. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you are interested in getting the PDFs of everything that we went over with the additional content, please feel free to check out the tiers at the Patreon at patreon.com/MikeGaudetMusic. And that is about it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys at the next episode. Take care.